I know one guy one of my best case studies, the day he signed the contract with us, he knew when he's going to break the contract. And I asked him, like, why? And he's like, agencies only focus on you for a year. After that, they start relaxing and not providing their max.
Because if you don't trust the party, even if they're crushing results, but you don't trust them, you will always doubt, is there somebody out there who would be better? And you're already getting these best results, so then you're just kind of like a piece of I checked their website, I've been in talks with them, I thought they were good, and then they end up being fulfilled by a junior who has 1 month of experience. What advice would you have for, if you're a brand, currently an e-commerce brand, and you have been burned by other agencies, what advice would you have as you're an agency owner? What advice would it be for them to not get burned?
Basically, due diligence. I suggest not working with companies that are only focusing on one part of the funnel. So if they're just doing advertising or just creative, they might be in a position to shield themselves from a lack of results. So for example, if you're just a creative agency, you might say, yeah, but the media buying or the website wasn't good.
It wasn't me. It was not me.
So you shield yourself from taking full responsibility. So even though it's now harder than before, you should try finding something that can service the full spectrum of your business. So you can have somebody that's not dependable, but like that has to get the results, that has to at the end of the day come up with solutions or learning.
Yes. But how do you do that? Because I can imagine that, the typical agency has either they're doing social and they're creating content, or they have a website where they, show all their wonderful results, and it could be fake, you don't know. So how would they do the due diligence? Because they would say like, yeah, I checked their website, I've been in talks with them, I thought they were good. And then they end up, being fulfilled by a junior who has 1 month of experience.
So there are a couple of things you can check. First thing that I like looking at is the reporting system. I want to see the Excel sheet or something that they're going to show me, and I want to see the metrics. Ideally, I ask them for a previous client's reports or something they can share, so I see how they do it. If the reporting is like all over the place or has some metrics that are just not supposed to be there, that's a red flag, because they might be able to then again shield themselves from transparency and actually showing the results. We set up a system that's really, really diabolical for ourselves, because there's basically if a mistake happens or if we have a bad period, there's no way for us to hide it. So we just did a 180 and just countered all of the other agencies where we try, and even if we have a bad week, just openly say everything, show everything, and we work on the solutions to everything together with the clients. And because of that, we actually are managing to have way better retention. So that's one of the reasons why reporting is going to matter. Good reporting means a longer relationship and a better relationship. Another thing that I also suggest for people is to do an audit with an agency. So potentially they can show them all of the issues they see, because everybody can say, yeah, I can do an amazing job. Okay, show me a couple of examples where you can provide value. And then if they show you, like, you have these 5 issues on the website, and they show the issues, explain to you how they work, or even prove the issues. So for example, they install heat maps and then find some bugs, or find tracking that isn't done properly, something like that. That's already value that's shown to you. So a good agency is not going to usually sell you on the how, but it's going to sell you on the actually doing the job for you.
Yeah, so what you're saying is basically, transparency goes a long way. If you're able to, if they're willing to provide a reporting system that they have used with other clients, that's one. Adding value. So, doing an audit, show actually where the weak spots are, instead of just providing a sales pitch of like, oh, sure, we can help. Let me get your money. Exactly. And is there anything else?
So besides that, I would look at the reference checks. So they potentially might have, if they're a good agent, they should have some clients that are with them for years. Usually with time, like some businesses are just going to keep changing their agencies no matter what. Other businesses are going to prefer to be loyal. And if you're a good business, you're going to have a couple of those that are going to be with you no matter what. So usually when you ask for a reference check, you give somebody like that as an agency owner. And through that, you can see why that person stayed with that agency. Most of my longest relationships were with clients that worked with me for a year or two, then left for a bigger, more prestigious agency, and then they paid a lot more. They probably got, like most of them reported, they got all lower results, and then they came back and they never changed an agency again.
Well, that's interesting. So let's talk about that for a second. Your best clients are the ones who were with you for 1 or 2 years, left for a bigger, more known agency, and then came back and basically never left again. That's what you're saying, right? Yeah. So I see this. I see this also a lot. So please explain, enlighten. What do you think happens when they're on the other side?
It's usually something related to insecurity with the client. So insecurity meaning like maybe they dislike or have a small grudge or something about a part of their business, and then a good salesperson might be able to identify that and then offer them the world. Usually what happens is that those agencies are really good to sell you the service and really good to charge you for the service, but then everything else is iffy. So it usually happens that somebody overpromises, underdelivers, and then just get burned again and come back. Simple thing. Like usually those agencies have either a famous person behind them or a huge story or something like that, but it's usually just really good marketing.
Yeah, so they buy into a face only to be sourced out to a junior intern, and the reporting just, they think they can get away with a certain reporting, but the value drops. I think a lot of brands need some education across the board as to like, how do I find the right fit outside of like listening to a sales pitch, get like all dopamine on them and then like, yes, let's do this, and then figuring out it was actually not a good choice.
I think that the business owners just need to be firm with the requests. So how are you going to do tracking? How are you going to do creatives? How are you going to do reporting? Okay, can you tell me what you do when things go wrong?
That's a good question.
Ask them, because we have a procedure when an account just drops or free falls. We know what we're going to do. We know how to retract the account, where we first look at what checklist we go through. Like sometimes it's just an algorithm change. Sometimes that client went into the back side of the website and changed something, and then that was picked up by the algorithms and we have a drop in the account. But we right away try to figure out what is the cause of the issue and then how to solve it, and we report on it. Even though we send weekly reports, when something like that happens, we send a report right away. So for example, even because we're in a different time zone, most of our clients in the United States, when they wake up and even if they see that their business is struggling, they have a report on what happened, what we're doing to fix it, and how we expect it's going to turn out.
Yeah, smart. So just solutions for when shit hits the fan.
And it will hit the fan. No business.
It will. Yes.
No business is going to survive without getting.
The longer you work with people, I mean, that's also a sign of the times. Your clients sticking with you when it's not always going well, because they obviously at some point they're like, okay, it's not going well. I might need a different party coming in. Well, what happened with you? And then they come back after a few months because they figured out it was not actually that. It was just the market, your offer, whatever it was. Could be a lot of things, but then trust is so imperative with these relationships. Like results obviously has to be there, but I also feel like the relationship has to go beyond just results, because if you don't trust the party, even if they're crushing results, but you don't trust them, you will always doubt, is there somebody out there who would be better? And you're already getting these best results, so then you're just kind of like a piece of shit to me, and you need to uplift your ways of dealing with people, because that's an ROI as well.
Both logics behind keeping an agency long term or keeping a short term has its merits. Like I know one guy that one of my best case studies, like he signed up with us on the 30th of January or something like that, and he ended the contract on the 1st of January, something like that. So the 30-day minimum ended on the 30th. So he had a date, even when the date he signed the contract with us, he knew when he's going to break the contract. And when I asked, or end the contract, and I asked him, why? And he's like, agencies only focus on you for a year. After that, they start relaxing and not providing their maximum, which makes sense. What we did is we set up a system where each month we have a call, and together with the business owner and with their CMO, depending on what they have, we set up a target for ad spend. So they tell us the target, not us. And then
that's the way it should be, yeah.
Exactly, but most business owners went through agencies that just keep them for a year really engaged, and then after that start dropping off, which I understand. Sometimes when you have a new client, you're under pressure to perform right away while you prove it in front of the other clients. So I understand that situation, but I think that long term, if you found an agency that's honest, that is there for you, and that is gonna even give you advice even if it harms them, you search for that part, because most agencies, if it's not going to play into their hand, they might not say it. So
that's definitely true.
In our presentations, in our business offers, we have a clause where it says we will give you good coaching and good information, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's the integrity, right? You're there to serve as an agency. You're serving them. So even if it is against your own self-interest, but you're there, that's the integrity part and transparency that you have to deliver on. That is a very good point.